Elfie, now that we're friends, I've decided to make you my new project.
You really don't have to do that.
I know. That's what makes me so nice. Whenever I see someone less fortunate than I, and let's face it, who isn't less fortunate than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face,
have patience.
Don't worry, I'm determined to succeed.
I've got to hear the chorus. Give me a second.
Follow my lead.
Here we go.
And yes, indeed, you will.
I really wanted to play the main song that runs through the conclusion of this thing. My God, is that a moment? But it's too long. I just want to play a touch of Popular, which is one of the hit songs from this Broadway show / now soon to be massive runaway hit at the box office. And I got news for you guys. It's going to be a fun night because I'm excited. I like this film a lot. I didn't even want to see it. I mean, I saw the play when I was in Orlando way back when, like over a decade ago. And I remember liking the play, and I knew that halfway mark, which is where this film lets off, right? So we get half a film here tonight, but I'm going to tell you why it's still well worth seeing. But the moment that you see the crescendo, you're just like, hell yeah, this is why I go to the movies, man. This is what I want out of my movies, right? I mean, we've had a terrible year this year, guys. This has been one of the worst years ever for cinema. And tonight, a movie that I really put on the back burner and I didn't make any real effort to see it early. I'm finally here, and I am here to tell you tonight, live from the City of Angels, that Wicked rocks. And this is a film that, without any doubt, belongs in the Best Picture conversation. For a lot of reasons, I'm going to tell you why in a moment, but I do want to get to a touch of the trailer. As always, we do that here on the MMT Evaluation Live, never taped. It's 10:10 here in LA on a Thursday night. Here's trailer 2 for Wicked.
Fellow Aussians, the Wicked Witch of the West is dead.
Don't let her get away!
Let me tell you the whole story. Our paths did cross. At school. Unlimited.
Oh, you're green.
I am.
Together we're unlimited.
I'm going to pull down the volume here, and I'm going to tell you exactly why this film rocks. We talk about this all the time on MMT. What's the number one position in any film? It's very obvious. For someone who doesn't answer this question correctly, then, smack them upside the head. The number one answer is direction, okay? Because the director's job is to impart the vision, his vision in this case, on the audience. And it's really hard to do when you have a source material as beloved as this play. Massive hit Broadway show, right? Toured the country for, like I said, I saw it a decade ago in Orlando. So this is a phenomenon, right? This is a massive show. And when you say you're going to do it, you better bring the goods. And I've been a fan of John M. Chu for a very long time. And this is where you're going to get something out of me that you don't get from anyone else, okay? I'm a fan of Jem and the Holograms. And I know, see, this is what I think I bring to the table more than anyone else is just some weird shit that comes out of nowhere. You're like, excuse me? You were a fan of that 2015 Gem and the Holograms? Hell yeah. If you saw that film, it's way better than you've been told. Okay. It's got a lot of emotion. It's got some moments, cinematic moments. I'm going to play one of the music videos later in the stream because I want you to watch. It's one of my favorite songs of the past decade from any film, and no one talks about Gem and the Holograms, so I just want to make sure that we do that here tonight. But we are going to start talking about why this film rocks, and it is really about Chu to start because, again, he has a really tough task here when he's given this material. And the reason that the film works as well as it does, it's production design. And guys, we talk about, again, these are the elements that matter when you're doing a giant fantasy tentpole, massive budget film. If you don't nail production design / world building, then you are fucked. Right. I mean, the movie's going to just absolutely be a disaster. And what I really appreciate about what Chu and his team did here with Wicked, there's a lot of tangible effects going on here, right? It's not all CGI. So many films you watch are so effects heavy that it takes you out of the moment. You know they're standing in front of a green screen. That's not to suggest there aren't green screens used here tonight when I'm sitting through Wicked, but it feels minimal. It feels like the sets are massive, and that allows me to enter the world of these two witches going to Hogwarts, right? If you've never seen Wicked, the tale of the good witch, Galinda, and the bad witch, the wicked witch of is it the West or the East at this point? I think it's the West. How long it's been since I've seen Wizard of Oz. This is the prequel. And it's smart. If you've never seen the show, actually you're going to enjoy this film probably more than even I did. Now, I want to mention issues with it, but I want to stay on the positive tip here before I go into a couple of issues I have with the film. Because when I, look, out of theater reaction, guys, and this is me stoked. I mean, when I come out and I'm like doing this, you guys know I like it. And read what it says here. This thing is soaring, right? I mean, he takes the source material and lifts it to, at the crescendo here, a true soaring feeling when you're in the theater. Okay. So this is a best picture contender, a very bad year. So there's no question this is a best picture contender. But I'm here to tell you tonight, as you bring it back to my number one reason this film is good, is John M. Chu. So you have to make him at least a strong consideration for one of those 5 best director spots come Oscars in March, still 4 months away, essentially. But you have to, and I don't want to hear, as you see here, I don't want to hear this half a film bullshit. I didn't, it didn't happen with Dune, as we all know. And again, may I state for the record here tonight, Dune 1 is greater than Dune 2. So now, if you're going to go ahead and give Denis that best director nomination, you're giving it for the weaker of the 2 films. And I know I'm right. So don't come in here with the comments. I don't have time to push a bunch of comments with you arguing me about Dune. Dune 1's better than Dune 2. End of discussion. Nothing to, okay? I hope that Wicked 2 is better than 1, because then we're going to be in a really good spot. But when you look at this, even though it's half a film, because of that build to the crescendo. Now, listen, I'm going to get to a couple negatives here in a second, but I'm going to tell you that when we get to that moment, and I remember this from the play when I saw it over a decade ago down in Florida, when you get to that build, when we get to Oz, and then we slowly build to the thing, you're just like, man, this is it. And the whole audience is just getting into it tonight. Prime, AMC, Burbank down the street here. They were totally loving it. I mean, this is going to be huge. Guys, this film's going to be massive. I had it big before. We all knew it was 100 million plus opening. This film's going to play. This weekend's going to smash. Thanksgiving, going to kill. Remember, a lot of kids are out of school all next week. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to go see Wicked. Wicked is going to be the new Barbie. This is a $1 billion film. $1 billion film, no question. None. Zero. After seeing this film, and remember, Now, Universal has a whole second half to deliver. So their decision to make this film and to hand it to John Chu, that's key. And listen, we talk about it a lot again here on MMT. It's so crucial you get the right match of director and source material. And Universal nailed this. Okay. So for everyone who says Weber doesn't like films, Weber's critical, he's too abrasive, he's this, the truth is nobody's better. Nobody. Not one person, no one in the space is better. And the reason is because no one dials in on this stuff and understands the importance of every single person in the role that they're in any given production and the strengths of the people in those positions. Right. And what did I tell you? Director is number one, clearly. So you have a guy who not enough people were talking about before. You know, again, I go back to Jim and the Holograms, which I know is the only guy who does that, but that's what makes me me. Okay. This is not made up shit. Everything's authentic. Everything is where I am in the moment and what I believe in with my whole heart. Right. I don't come on here and make shit up. I never have. Never will. It's not who I am. But you go and you look at In the Heights, another film that had a lot of strong moments, definitely too long. And I think that's one of the issues you have here. This film does need some constriction. It needs to be compressed, especially the front end, right? The first half of this, before we get to Oz, I was kind of like, it's solid. Again, going back to production design, to the directorial choices, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but the highs aren't there quite yet for me, but I knew it was coming because I'm familiar with the show. So I knew that if Chu delivered upon that crescendo at the end of the first act, if you went to the show, the intermission, that we are going to be in a great spot. And he does. Okay. So that's pretty much one of the lone negatives I have on this film. Now, that said, it's 230, 240. I didn't sit there and say to myself, this is really hurting me. Like I'm uncomfortable in my recliner at Prime. So as far as it being like punishingly overlong, the answer is no, because I think you have performances here in Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande that work. I think Erivo, you can see, is the stronger actress. The good news is that Galinda is pretty much a one-note ditzy, witch wannabe. So for that, Grande works, and certainly the voice is there. So you make a trade-off, right? When you cast her, Grande, in this role, you are making a trade-off for someone who's maybe not as good an actress, but when it comes to delivering the voice and the vocals on these tracks, that's going to be there. Is it to the point where it's a detriment to the film? No, but you can definitely see that if you had someone like, let's go and use like a Reese Witherspoon in her prime, right? Legally Blonde, Reese Witherspoon. She'd be perfect for this. I don't know about the voice, but as far as her acting, right? Better actor, actress, whichever way you want to go, on this role than Grande. But again, on a voice, it's going to be Ariana Grande. So I like the two of them. I want to bring up quickly on the FYC because I don't know a lot of these things. Listen, I know I'm the awards ace. I get it. But I'm going to be truthful here because, again, I just told you guys I'm always going to do that. When I am starting to lose interest in the Oscars, and that's a problem I have. I'm not going to lie. It's just the reality. So I'm not as dialed into running out and seeing all these films. I'll see them when they come out. Also, I've been so disappointed this year that I'm not really totally tuned into all this shit because everything I've seen has been pretty much underwhelming, with the exception of The Substance. Here Tonight, for what it is, Wicked, one of the best films of the year. I mean, I would definitely pick Substance or even Handling the Undead or, maybe Asphalt City over this as far as my personal favorite. But again, when we're grading these films, we're grading them up against what they are trying to be and what is the intended audience for the film. So I can always, I think that's another thing that I bring to the table a lot of people don't have, the ability to slide between given audiences for the film, right? So if I go to see a cinephilic film, I can glide into that mindset of this is a very niche film, like a Handling the Undead, and totally be down with what's going on because that's really where I want to be. And then I can turn around and watch tonight Wicked or go back to Little Mermaid, the live action. Didn't hate that film. I like the high moments in that film. Again, this is a better film, but right, the ability to remain neutral and objective and then render the verdict. Nobody's better. Nobody. Right. That's why we're not the anti-woke channel, right? We're not the pro-woke channel. We're the pro-objectivity channel. So that makes us unbeatable. No one can top us. So if I come in here and tell you, go back and watch Gladiator stream, it's not a great movie. I know I'm right on that. If you see Gladiator 2, I'll try to get some comments tonight. I'm only going to do a not as long a stream tonight. I'm all by myself, so I can't get to all the comments. But nobody is more objective and fearless in this space. I know that, and you guys know that. Let's get the grade out. I don't think I actually put it in here yet. I'm going to give it a 90%. Especially for what it is. I think if that front half were tighter, then I would have this even a little higher. But for me, that's high, right? A minus, but that's my scale. For the average person, especially if you're a family, you've got a daughter, young daughter, you want to see, they're going to love this shit. They're going to just lose it. Okay. They're going to see it multiple times. They're going to want to go see the sing along eventually at Christmas. Because what they're going to do is, as you guys know, they're already planning that. They're going to have sing along versions because they know this is going to be in theaters for a while. So Universal is going to leave this in theatrical exclusivity for long enough to just kill. I mean, this thing is going to just make bank from this date, the 21st, all the way through until the new year and beyond. Because remember, what's the number one movie going corridor in the entire year? Christmas corridor, right? That 2 weeks, kids are out of school, they are looking for things to do, and every movie makes bank every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're all out. It's like a Friday, it's like a Saturday, Wednesday, because everybody has free time and they go to the movies. And thank God movies are still around. I want some love for being one of the number one supporters of cinema during all the COVID bullshit we put up with. Who was the guy, not in all these other frauds who came in late and now are changing their tune? Don't listen to them. They are like Oz, okay? We're the real deal. We're not Oz. And I said, let's go back to the movies. And now we are here, and movie going will be very strong with this, with Gladiator, and then, yes, Moana 2 coming up in a week from now. You've got 3 movies that are going to just slay for weeks, okay? And tonight, the energy was there. I don't know if it was quite Barbenheimer, but it's Thursday night. I'm telling you, the word on Wicked is going to build. If I'm hyping it, everyone else is going to. Group of girls that were just coming out of the movie. I'm not the target audience for Wicked, obviously, which makes this review even more impactful, does it not? But when you look at a group of young women that were coming out, they were all digital. Oh, I loved it. Oh my God, it's so great. And I'm like, yep, I knew it. Because remember, when we saw Red 1, I told you guys audiences like that movie more than critics. And I gave it a fairly decent, like I think a C grade, but an A- cinema score. Here you're looking at an A cinema score, easy, A. Okay, maybe an A+. So this is going to be a huge hit for Universal, no question about it. But as I look through the FYC, let's talk about that, because remember, after I see these films, I can tell you where I can place these as, yes, the awards A's. I can easily tell you where this is going to fit. The number one thing, they have it right there, is production design, next to picture. Do you see? Why don't you make me a studio head? Why am I sitting here on a YouTube stream? If you're watching on X and X Stream, why am I here doing this when I could be over at, what's a studio that needs help? Disney needs help. I know. They're not going to hire a white guy. I get it. But I could help them, because I would say, well, first of all, what are you doing with Snow White? I'm not going to do that tonight. But I'd be good, man. I'd be like old school 70s, 80s, before that, studio head. We'd turn Lionsgate around. He'd bring me in there. But look what I told you. I didn't even, until this moment, look, best production design. No shit. Best picture, yes. Director, yes. Costume design, yes. Makeup and hairstyling, yes. Adapted screenplay, sure, no question. I mean, there's a little bit with the animal thing, the talking animals. I don't remember that from the play. I feel like that's an addition. Again, it's been over 10 years. But the whole talking animals thing, I get it. You're trying to extend and, show off some more CGI. Might be a little bit of an issue. But again, the high notes, right? If the high notes are stratospherically high, I'm going to like it. Best sound, yes. Best actress, Cynthia Erivo. And then you have supporting Grande. In a weird way, I understand. Remember, when you slot your actors or actresses, the studio controls. So in this case, it's really 50-50. For me, I know that, listen, I hope Erivo's up for Best Actress because it's always going to be harder to get the nomination and the win in the actress than the supporting. If I were Universal, I would have probably advised them to flip that because Grande's not getting in for supporting. If she is, I got to look at everything else, but she's fine. I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just telling you, Erivo, if you make her supporting, it's like a no-brainer. That's in. Like, she could win, okay? So this is why I'm the awards whisperer. If someone, guys, I could either be a studio head or the FYC campaign guy. I just need to be essentially a consultant. You just let me watch the movie, and I'll instantly say, here's what you want to do. Bang, production design. I want Grande in lead, and I want Erivo in supporting. Why? Because she has a much better chance of winning in supporting. They're like, God, that's good. I'm like, yeah, I know it's good. Now give me my money. I'm leaving. This is what, but remember, they're not going to hire me. He's a white guy. See? Oh, but wait, aren't you the non-woke channel? Are you the woke channel? What are you? Because I'm just honest, and it's the truth, right? I don't think that way. I never have thought that way. I've never in my life ever looked at someone and said, wow, they're good because the color of their skin. What? Like, when I watch Cynthia Erivo and I go back to Harriet, right? Harriet is not a great movie. She's very good in a very forgettable movie. And I think the biggest disappointment with that film, if any of you ever saw Harriet, is the fact that you're not going to make another Harriet Tubman movie anytime soon. And now you've got a performance from Erivo in that film that's great, and the film's not. Right? That's always the worst. You're not going to get another Tubman film. So it's like, that was a poorly directed film. Very marginal direction on that. Very. I mean, wow. And that's in the story. And but again, direction is everything, guys. I know those of you who are enlightened and intelligent and learned know that that's the case, but it's not just about the most important. It has such a rippling impact, right? It's essentially the Richter scale when you have a director who is as great as obviously a Nolan, or hopefully we'll see with Mickey 17 again with Bong, but just go back to anything Bong's done before that. You look at a current director in the space, obviously Tarantino, Fincher before he signed with Netflix. These are directors who, when they come in, you're going to get something great because they have such great talent. And remember, we talk about this all the time on the channel, is that not everybody's great at what they are doing, right? So not all directors are the same. I know you guys get that. Not all actresses are the same. Not all streamers are the same. You can say you are, but you either have it or you don't, right? There's no way to fake this shit. So I think, when you look at director, you've got to get someone who's just lights out. And that's, again, Chu has been on my radar since I told you guys, Gem and the Holograms. So don't question me. Don't ever question me. Robert, by the way, I met Robert. I think I told you guys, I met Robert at the 8 a few weeks ago. It was awesome. It's always nice when someone who watches the stream stops me, like at Target. I told you guys, the guy at Target, I watch MMT. I'm like, what? At the Burbank Target? This is cool. So that's always nice. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Whether you hate watch or love watch, it's either way. But Robert, you nailed it here. The pacing drags, right? I agree. For the first half of this film, I was not that into it. I still enjoy the production design. I think Chu's a great director, but I'm like, okay. And then we get to the Emerald City, we get to Oz, we're doing that, and then it's like, okay, here we go. And that's where you're like, okay, this is great. This is really good. So That's 100%. Did people behave at the screening? No one was singing, but if they were, I didn't hear them. I mean, I was at Prime. I'll tell you what, the more I think about Prime, I really like Prime at Burbank. It's very much like the Dolby. It's the thing that I like about the Prime is that it's got this kind of like walkway that if you sit in that area, it's a great eye level. You're not too close. You're not too far. I'm not telling. Forget. I'm not giving this away because then you'll take my seat. I'm not. Forget it. Strike that. I'm gonna edit this portion out. But in Prime, what I love about Prime is that the seats actually have subwoofers in them, if I'm not mistaken, so you can feel it. So I think one of the key things that I can recommend to you here tonight is you need to see this in a Dolby, a Prime, in some kind of loud auditorium that's got boosted up audio. Because if you don't, you're going to be shortchanging yourself. This is one of those films that you really need to see in scale and certainly in sound. As a musical, you can understand that. And so it is very crucial that you do that. I almost saw this down at the 8, over at the 8, I should say, upstairs at the 8. But I said, no, let's go see this in Prime or Dolby because I need to get that full effect. And I think I wouldn't have had the same impact had I been somewhere else. Isn't that wild if you think about that? Even though it's the same movie, the experience is going to be different in HAL 6 versus Prime, right? So for some films, that doesn't matter. I go back to my favorite films of the year. You go back to Handling the Undead. I saw it at the 8 at one of their small little, almost like screening room kind of things. It was fine. I mean, that film doesn't need to be experienced in IMAX. In fact, it's a very intimate film. So that's individual case-by-case basis on where you choose to see a film. I always will choose to watch something on the big screen. Occasionally, I'll watch a screener. In fact, we just did the Last Showgirl MMT evaluation on Sunday night, and I watched a screener of that because there's very few screenings, and frankly, I'm not driving around. So the reality is if there was like screenings here in the Burbank area, I would go to more. But for me to drive to Beverly Hills, Century City, it's just prohibitive. I don't want to do it. So a couple more comments here. Listen, I have a Sao Paulo jersey. I've seen it. I think you're Vader Monkey. I promise you I will wear it again in the near future. People can vouch for me. This is, by the way, tonight, a little love for the FC Juarez kit tonight. This is new. And as you guys know, it's fully green. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, this is the perfect kit for tonight. So, and remember, we have kits from all over the world. This is Liga MX. And wherever you are, we have a kit. Okay, so I have Sao Paulo. We'll get to it. I promise you. I'm going to play before I'm going to get to. Let's do a real quick seat check. We always do that on Thursdays, which is where I look at the sales and then we decide how big it's going to be. So let's do the MMTC check and let's bring up AMC and we look here at the 10 o'clock. Is this the 10 o'clock or 10:15? Just went off 15 minutes ago. So it's starting right now after previews, right? 20 minutes. Here we go. It looks good, right? I mean, that's where I just was. This is Prime. So I was just in this auditorium right before this thing started. And that's pretty good for a 10:15 screening. Let's go see if there's any others here. 10 o'clock. Let's go and look over at Universal and see what they have. They have a 10:25. Let's see if it's still. Oh, it's not there anymore because I saved this page. Let me see if there's anything going off later. There's a 10. Let's see. I'm going to give you my number. It's big. It's a big number. 10:45 Universal is that solid, man. Look at that. 10:45. Guys, here's the thing, though. Think about this. 10:45, and you've got a crowd like that. This thing's going to be. I need to amend my number because think about this. This film's going to just destroy on Saturday and Sunday. Those matinees with the families, it's Thursday night at 10:35 here in Burbank. I mean, that's late. These aren't kids in that screening. This is a family film. It's a 4-quad film. A lot of women going to see this. This is Barbie all over again. And I think even more inclusive than Barbie. I could see this being bigger than Barbie in opening weekend. I could. Listen, let me give you my number. I'm going to give it at 115, but I'm putting the arrow up. I'm going to take it. Probably, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably 125 plus. But I'll just keep it at 115 up. So that's really strong. Okay, obviously, this will be the biggest opening since Deadpool and Wolverine, the last film to do over 100 million. And by the way, who was one of the only people who called Deadpool and Wolverine as being as beloved as it is? The night that I came out of it before it opened. Remember, we had Menzel on. Menzel, like, yeah. I was like, okay, just so you know, everyone's going to love Deadpool Wolverine. They're going to just lose their shit over that bye opening. Who nailed it again? Weber's right. Weber's never wrong. Even if you think I'm wrong, if you think about it, I'm right. Okay. And this film is going to be an absolute behemoth for Universal over the next several months, not just weeks. This is exactly what movie theaters needed because it's been weak lately, been very slow, right? I mean, you have the number one film coming in at Red One at $32 million. And now all of a sudden I go back, it's like there's people at the multiplex. Isn't it amazing if you give people compelling movies, they show up. And you just have, not just this, you have Gladiator II. Let me see sales on this. Guys, not a fan of Gladiator II. I went over it. Go back and watch the stream. I don't want to relitigate that tonight, but go watch the reaction stream. It's on the YouTube channel. Those of you watching on X, it's Midnight Movie Talk is on YouTube. So if you want to go watch any of the replays, that's where they are. A lot of times we do it live on X and then I just blow the stream out because I like to have the replays over on the YouTube channel. So if you want to patronize that, man, listen, awesome. That would be cool. Okay, so let me see if I can find the Gladiator 2 and look at that. They had the fan screenings in IMAX here tonight. So it opened, remember they had that Monday night, that little secret mystery movie. I saw it Monday. That's how I saw it early. They didn't do any early screenings of this. So it should be pretty good when we look. Let me see if I can find the actual thing here. Again, these are late screenings. So to find a huge crowd this late, even on a Thursday, but it is LA. I mean, people go to the movies all the time. Let's go IMAX 11:15 and we look and we're looking at that's pretty good, right? For Gladiator 2, you're looking at, what would you say, about 65-70% full. I mean, the front's rarely full there. You can see the front. Let me see if Universal's got a late IMAX going off. It might have just gone off, so we might have missed it. Because, once it goes offline, we can't look at it. Let's see. Hold on. Is it there? Oh, it's still there. So this is Universal slammed. I mean, that's slammed for 10:30. So the guys are going to go see this, right? Gladiator, and the girls are going to go see Wicked. I'm only taking Gladiator at 65. Because I'm not high on the film, okay? There's a lot of reasons. It's not well directed. Ridley Scott lost the fastball. That's the short and long of it. It's very, very poorly assembled. And it really is. I mean, Wicked is so much stronger from a directorial standpoint, right? If you were to put Gladiator 2 and Wicked in a ring, from a directorial standpoint, it'd be a wipeout. I mean, Wicked smashes it. It just kills it. Chew, buy your stock in him. But I bought my stock in Chew way back when I was watching Gem and the Holograms. So, I mean, who's on top of this shit? But yeah, this looks really nice for Gladiator. But here's the thing. Synergistically, these films are going to work very much like Barbenheimer. You've heard Glicked, right? So you're looking at that this weekend where they're both going to work off one another. And you've got the guys with the Gladiator. You've got the families going to see Wicked and, a little bit of everything, I think, in Wicked, right? Because I think even, look, a dude who's not really the target audience went to see it and liked it a lot. The funny thing is I definitely would recommend Wicked over Gladiator, which is like, what? Like, again, I surprise myself, but that's what happens when you go in objective. If you go in objective these things, then you are going to surprise yourself because your expectation is, I'm not going to enjoy Wicked. I know I saw the play. I'm sure it's fine. But then, and I forgot Chu directed it. And, I love Erivo. She's a very strong actress. And I said, okay, I undersold it, right? I didn't think that it was going to be as good as it is. And it is. So go see it over Gladiator for sure. Couple comments, and then I'm going to watch the Gem and the Holograms thing. Because you know what? No one's ever seen it. So I feel like it's my duty to show you guys Gem and the Holograms. And let me tell you not only why I'm going to show you the scene I'm going to show you, because the song is so good. And the fact that it wasn't up for an Oscar makes me angry because everyone's like, yeah, Gem and the Holograms is a piece of shit. Like, really? Watch that movie. That's your assignment now, to watch Gem and the Holograms. A couple I'll show you the scene in a second. Gladiator and Wicked, big deal for cinema. Mega Swiper is exactly right. And that's what we want, right? We want people to go to the movies. That's what we're here for. We don't. Do you see us talking about Lord of the Rings on Amazon? Do we talk about a Marvel show on Disney Plus? No, we talk about only movies in theaters. I mean, who else is talking about Last Showgirl, Wicked? What else do we do? The Red One. What are some other films we've done recently? I'm gonna go see that cat animated movie this weekend. Is it Meow? What's it called? Something like that. It's like some artsy animated film. I'll see that. I see everything in a theater. So if you want to know if a movie in a theater near you is worth seeing, you watch Midnight Movie Talk because we've seen them all. Everything, even things from Blue Sky Entertainment. Okay, hold on. Let's do it. Thank you, Vader Monkey. I appreciate it. Listen, honestly, the support is awesome. When we started the stream over 2 years ago, it's just for me to just get on here and just start blathering on and on about stuff and ripping on shills and then praising some films and mostly hammering others. But ultimately, this is a fun time, and I appreciate that some of you enjoy it. I do. And for the hate watchers, I love you too. You guys ready? Here we go. Exactly, Felicity. But that's what I can't explain. But however I was built is not normal. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you. I was not built with a normal mold, so I can't answer why I'm the way I am. But we're about ready to watch The Way I Was. One of my favorite sequences from the year 2015. If you've never seen Gem and the Holograms, everybody, get ready. I love this song, and this is why MMT is what it is. Get ready. The Way I Was, Gem and the Holograms, directed by John M. Chu, before he was well-renowned for Wicked.
I've been here in this place, I've been stuck in this space, like a ghost that's been missing its life. Silent words in
Just
my
notice the
mouth,
direction.
now they
Watch the
want
shot.
to scream out, and I leave my old child
This shot's awesome. Check this shot out. Watch this shit right here. Get ready.
in my heart and out of my mind. I'll go, but I won't go quietly. Go down, but I'll go down fighting. Don't know where, don't know what, but I can't go back to the way I was. I'll show who I am from the inside. Gonna take my walk on the wild side. Don't know where, don't know what, but I can't go back to the way I was. Oh, 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 no, I can't go back to the way I was.
It's such a great song. Like, I was watching that at ArcLight, right? So I said, should I go to watch Gem and the Holograms? And I'm not even kidding you. When this scene came on, I just sat there and I was like, holy shit, that's good. Like, when moments come out of nowhere and you're watching it and you're like, first of all, the song is fucking A+. And then the execution of this thing, the shots. Dudes, I'm telling you, if you go watch Gem and the Holograms, you're all going to go, dude, there's some good direction in that movie. And that's the thing, right? No one talks about Gem and the Holograms. And the funny thing is that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about things that no one's talking about. And the fact that this song wasn't nominated for an Oscar pisses me off to this day. So that's your homework. Go watch Gem and the Holograms. It's so, dude. This is better than Wicked. No, guys, it's so good. That song, it's on my iPod playlist. Like, when I'm at the gym and I need an extra boost, it is The Way I Was. And I'm like, And remember, the other thing about this that I don't talk about a lot, when I saw Gem and the Holograms, it was right before I went through the darkest moment of my life. Okay. So I know this is what you get out of me. I'm sorry. I can't filter myself. So when this film came out, I wasn't at my lowest point. Then I went to my lowest point, and then out of nowhere, this song came back, And I don't know how. It's almost like the grace of God. I mean, listen, I don't know if you're spiritual or not. I'm just telling you, I believe there's a higher power. And all of a sudden, I heard this again, and it spoke to where I was. Because the song, I'm never going back to the way I was. And that's exactly what happens. If anyone's ever been to your lowest moment, right, where you've been to the point where you're like, I don't know if I want to be around. And you come back from that, you're never going back to the way you were. So it has a meaning, like almost like I said, a spiritual meaning. And I know it's weird, but that's just who I am. I can't pretend otherwise, man. It's just the reality of how we do things here on MMT. It's always in the moment. It's always authentic. Go check that film up. It's so good. So good. Yeah. Gem and the Holograms. All right, a couple more comments and we're out of here. Yeah, 100%. That's what we want to do. We want to give you guys cool things to talk about. And go watch, listen, I mean, ultimately, if there's one thing that this channel was founded on, it's the fact that I just want you guys to watch awesome movies and to not be going into a film saying this isn't going to be good because it's woke. This is good because it's not woke. Whatever it is, you're going to go in objectively and then just be surprised. Go back to Gem and the Holograms, a film that I was not expecting to enjoy the hell out of and to find real deep, powerful moments in it. I know it's crazy, right? But trust me, there's also a moment with her and her dad late that's really well executed. And again, right? So as the studio executive that should be me, I'm telling you right now, when I watch Gem and the Holograms, I'm like, I want John Chu to direct a movie for me. Like as soon as I watch it, I go, I can see the talent. I don't care if it's Gem and the Holograms and everyone says it's bad. That's the thing is also, right? So when everyone jumps on a film like Joker 2, right? Who says Joker 2 is really strong? Me. Did I need anybody else? Do I need backup? No. Don't ever feel like you have to be in the majority. Don't ever feel that way because in truth, the majority can be totally wrong, as we've seen over the past several years. So don't be afraid to be an army of one because ultimately you have to be true to yourself. And I think that's what we do better than anybody. We don't care what anyone else says about a movie. I don't care if everyone said Wicked's terrible. I'm telling you, it's good, and here's why. And that's why we'll forever be the gold standard when it comes to movie evaluation and Planet X. For those of you who've never watched, maybe we'll do a Planet X check on Sunday. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm fucking exhausted. I didn't even want to go to Wicked tonight because I was like, I don't know. I kind of just don't want to sit through a 2.5 hour movie. But remember, that's why you go to these things, because you're hoping to be surprised by what you watch. And tonight I was. So I want to thank everybody for being here tonight for the MMT evaluation live of Wicked. We'll be back here on Sunday for the Breaking Box Office show in the morning. Then at night, we will talk about likely the synergistic smash of the box office that this will create with Gladiator 2 coming up. We'll have those numbers worldwide on Sunday. We'll make that our big story, and then we'll branch off from there with maybe an MMT evaluation of, I finally got The Apprentice. I want to thank the studio. They sent me a link. So I'm going to finally watch The Apprentice. Let's discuss that film on Sunday because I know there's a lot going on with Sebastian Stan, and no one wants to talk to him because he portrays Donald Trump, and no one wants to talk about Trump. Let's talk about the film. I have not watched the film. I'm going to see it. It's no longer at AMC, so now I have to watch a link. But either way, I will watch it over the next 72 hours. We'll discuss it on Sunday along with Glicked, killing it. Big news, great news for cinemas. That's our goal, right? Keep cinema alive. Live from City of Angels. Always a pleasure. Thanks for being here, guys. I'll see you next time on MMT. Good night.